I'm well aware of the multifaceted approach to this issue, but I keep hearing from people out in the trenches, more treatment, more money for treatment. Have you thought about that? I know you've thought about it. Is it going to happen?
Well, you know, we went from, I don't have exactly the numbers, from a couple $100 million to almost $1 billion. And what we find is when we're out in the community that there's a lot of people in the community that don't know what's available to them. And there's also people out there that don't know where to go. So there's going to be a concerted effort to do that. We have been surprised at times how people have not been able to access or didn't know how to access the resources that were available. So it is important. Tracy, I think, will have some phone number information up as to where people can go. You know, actually, we've been surprised at times when we've been out in the community that all the people who would be involved in the community had never seen each other before, had never worked together before. This is where we have to make sure that the community knows what's available and that they all work together. Part of the reason why I expanded Medicaid, and as you all know, fought so aggressively, to make sure that we get a healthcare reform bill, is so that we don't lose the resources that we need to be able to treat the mentally ill and the drug addicted. You see, the expansion of Medicaid is not only just help those people who are on Medicaid, but it's also provided more flexibility and resources to the local community where they can begin to serve people who don't even qualify because they're making more money, don't qualify for Medicaid. They now can be treated. So, you know, all these things need to continue. And so we'll work with the communities, and when they have shortfalls, they need to let us know. Yes?
Governor, much of what you're proposing here...
We're not proposing, this is done. This is not even a question of proposing. This is it. This is done, it will be enacted, and it will be carried out. So there's no proposal here.
But it's on the front end of prevention. At what point do you think we start to see this show up in the fatality statistics that...
Yeah. Well, I think everybody here, when we heard it from a number of these professionals here, the gateway to heroin are prescription drugs. So we have had a number of people who got addicted to prescription drugs, and as the prescription drugs have become less available and therefore more costly from those that peddle them, people have gone to heroin on the street, which is cheaper, more accessible, believe it or not. So the issue, so there's two ways to look at it. Number one, we have this group that's moved over here in the danger zone. What we're trying to do now is to not have another generation get hooked on prescription drugs so that they then move themselves into the area of heroin addiction. Then on top of the heroin, of course, we've got these other drugs, the other opiates that have come in, like fentanyl, which is very, very deadly. So part of why John Bourne and the Highway Patrol are out busting all these people, and we got to get the statistics to you, is because we want to drive these criminals out of the state. Now, when it comes to heroin, you know, it's a 2-year process. So I try to explain to people in Washington, you know, you just don't like get off of heroin. If you talk to experts, it's a couple years. You have to have treatment, and you have to have a significant counseling in order to get off this drug. So when do I think it will slow down? Well, when you have a 20% drop in the number of prescriptions written, when you see the interdiction that's happening on the highways, and now when you have the boards agreeing to clamp down even more, we'll see results. But we're paying a price for the fact that we've had a lax, it's going on forever. Listen, when I became governor, how did I get interested in this? I went down to Southern Ohio, and I had a group of women tell me that we have pill mills down there. What the heck were we doing? And I shut them down immediately. But they existed down there for a long period of time. Think about how many people got addicted because we had pill mills down there and doctors operating them who were crooks, who we've taken their licenses, and I think some of them are in jail. I mean, this is something that we're paying a price now for a lot of the neglect of what happened in the past. But it doesn't mean anything other than the fact that we have to throw everything we can at this level. We have to throw everything we can at this level, but also try to make sure that the community at all levels are warning about the dangers of these drugs.
What role do you think medical marijuana can play in reducing the number of people on opioids?
I don't like the whole thing. somebody was going to have something that was a broader law. What do I think is going to play in this? Introducing another drug? Look, you try to tell kids, don't do drugs, right? Except you can do this drug. Now, I know that that's not recreational marijuana. Okay, recreational use. I know it's limited. I don't see any role in this at all. Any other questions?